It's going. All right, we're live.
Hi, I'm Myochi.
And I am Renee, and welcome to the 40 Spot, where we discuss the highs and the lows and everything in between of being 40.
On this week's episode, we will be talking about the movie Don't Look Up. This won't be a review of the movie, but more of a reflection of the overarching theme: is ignorance bliss? What do you think? But first, we're going to get into our segment while we were out. This is a section where we talk about the news, entertainment, and some personal experiences that have occurred since our last show.
But first, I would like to welcome everybody that's here, and we thank you for coming in. For all of our new people, we welcome you to the 40 Spot. For all of our return people, we would like to thank you for coming in, checking back, being our foundational um, members. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend that we're on live. Right now, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, you can find us on all platforms or wherever you find your podcast on the replay. And so while we're out, we discuss the news, entertainment, and some personal experiences that have occurred since our last show. So on this week's, while we were out, everybody knows we've been out for a while.
Yeah.
So we had made a post that we had a family emergency, as I had said in a couple of shows ago, that my son had surgery. So he did have surgery. The surgery went very, very well. However, about 48 hours after he got out of the hospital, he ended up getting a fever, and we realized that he was having an infection. So with that, we went back to the hospital. Sunday, Monday, he was having emergency surgery. And thanks be, we got discharged yesterday afternoon. So we're back. And so that is why we were out for an extended amount of time. But I thank you all for your texts, your calls, your prayers, your positive energy, everything that was happening. And I just appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, I'm so happy that he's doing much better. I know as a mom, you are ecstatic. It's a little
Yes.
bit less stressful. I'm sure it's still some things because he's kind of still on the mend, but
Yes.
to be home is great.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. I can't ask for anything else better. Big shout out to his surgery team, the nurses, the staff, everybody. They definitely took care of my baby. Um, so just continue to pray for him for his recovery.
Yeah,
So moving on along, since we're a couple of weeks out from the Winter Olympics that happened in Beijing, China, and we want to give a shout out to a couple of our sisters who was medalists. Um, Miss Elaine Myers Taylor, she is an Olympian. She won a silver medal, and she was the first woman ever in the mono bob event to win. And also, she's the most decorated winter Black Olympian. She's on Team USA as well. In 2010, she won a bronze. In 2014 and 2018, she won a silver medal. Um, Also, Miss Erin Jackson. She's the first Black woman to win in solo speed skating, the 500-meter event. She was the top. She was a gold medalist. And Miss Vanetta Flowers. She won the gold medal. It was a teammate with her teammate for bobsledding, and her teammate was Jill Backen. And all of those women, they were definitely from Team USA, so we definitely want to give them a shout out because they are breaking walls, barriers, and just being the great Olympians that they are. And I think watching this give a lot of our people, even more knowledge of it's not just track and field, football, basketball, soccer, that there are so many other more sports out there that you can definitely find the niche for your child if your child is an active, type of person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's good. I didn't. I'm not really into the Winter Olympics. I'm not really into the Olympics that much, but I think I see the. I watch the other ones more than the Winter Olympics. Outside of figure skating, I think that's
Yes.
all the ones that most people pay. Well,
Um,
most people, a lot of people pay attention to, but that's kind of the one I pay attention to. Get the highlights though.
yes, that's the most watched event of the Winter Olympics. Figure skating. No matter if it's the couples, the singles, the men or women, just across the board, that is the most watched. Um,
It has to be because it's. I think it's the movement of the bodies and expression. It's telling a story. So even if you're not into sports and just watching it for the strength, you're truly getting entertained. For
yes,
people who watch other sports, of course, they're probably always entertained. But for me, figure skating is it's very entertaining for me. It's beautiful. So I
it
absolutely
is. It is. They just the way they glide on
yeah.
the ice. But I tell you, they make it look flawless because I went figure skating with ice skating before with my son, and
And
child, it was not pretty.
I think I did it one time ever in life, and I am good on doing it again. Not that I won't do it, but I'm not like, oh yeah, I want to do it again. My ankles hurt so bad.
Oh yes.
I'm not trying to fall. My thighs, like it requires a lot of strength. And so,
And if you're not a cold type of person, it's cold.
hello.
It is cold.
So it is.
Very cold.
That's the biggest art to be able to do such beautiful work and such beautiful moves on ice and with everything that it's like technically you shouldn't really still be standing up, but you are. And not only are you standing and walking, you're gliding and you're making it look so kudos to everybody in the Olympics. We're gonna move to the next one. Just an update on the Supreme Court nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Officially, while we were officially the person that was selected was Ketanji Brown Jackson. Judge, she's actually a judge, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. And she actually worked for the justice that is being replaced, Justice Stephen Breyer, before in his office before she worked for him. They can't find anything on her. However, the Republicans are now saying, oh, well, she was too lenient on some of her cases. So they can't find anything, so now they're going to go to cases. I mean,
Uh,
I think that's kind of expected. It's interesting. She's one of the most. She's one of the most. If she becomes the not just the nominee, but the Supreme Court judge, she'll have most of a lot more accolades than a lot
yeah.
of people that have been there. So that's very interesting. And you know they have dug. They have dug deep to find dirt. Can't find nothing. So now they're gonna go to her cases. And it's like, oh, you were too nice. God forbid
And
you have compassion.
yes, and then they're looking for stuff that she may have done, as to say, going into those cases where almost all of those people, they have not done the work in which she's done, because she would be, with the exception of the late Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, no one else have worked in the public sector.
Mhm.
None of them have been public defenders. They never worked on the other side,
Right. And
you
she
know.
was a defender.
Exactly. So, and what, it was about 2 years ago, she was appointed bipartisan for court cl- circuit court judge in the DMV area. So it's just amazing how, she was able to get that bipartisan support. And even like Lindsey Graham even was just like, yes, I put my cosign on her. And I was like, I was just like, darn, you just always doing South Carolina a disservice. I'm from South Carolina, like, but I just have to think about who his mentor was and the history of that, and you know
You know,
what
it's
can you
good enough
expect?
for something that is not long term. This is a long term, a lifetime appointment. Interesting
Absolutely.
enough, I still want to know because I want to know the tea. Why is Stephen Breyer leaving? He's retiring. Is he sick? Did something happen? Who knows? I mean, because it's a lifelong
Yes.
appointment. People
Yes.
retire from it. So that's interesting. That's probably another story for another day, maybe whenever that comes out.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna let the people know. And y'all gonna have to tell us if y'all find out before y'all email us, tag us in that email us at the 40 spot at gmail.com or tag us. If they post it somewhere, tag us at the 40 spot. Let us
No.
know. Let us know.
And speaking of tea, moving on to Miss Wendy Williams.
Ooh.
We call the end of an era because she was the number one tea spiller, bone carrier, bone collector, and she is retiring. But unfortunately, if you've been following some of the entertainment news, it seems like a forced retirement.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's very, very different, and I think it's kind of disheartening to see because these last couple of years we've definitely seen a lot of her very, very personal private life be on display
Yeah.
in the public. However, she has always been very, very tight-lipped, mom's the word as far as any of that. Although she has made that's been the foundation of her career, as I say, she be knowing people business and people they tell her the stuff because this is one thing I don't recall any time where she's been sued for telling lies. But maybe it's like slanders. It's a big difference. But and the entertainment industry in itself is very, very, it's a youthful driven place. And as you said, when we talked about it earlier, was like this was before she had planned an exit plan.
Yeah.
So it's kind of,
I
what
think
do I do now?
it less dramatic had she had an exit plan. And she
Yeah.
obviously doesn't have an exit plan. Obviously, she had more time and more years in her mind, or specifically doing this. And so when I say exit plan, I don't even mean her not being in the limelight or not, being
Mhm.
entertainment. I just mean, from the show, like pivoting from the show to something else. And I guess that's not where her mind was at the time.
Right.
And there's some conspiracy theories that I've seen going around the internet saying, oh,
Really?
yeah, because the whole thing that she doesn't have control over her money, and we don't know the whole story. But I do know that I find that strange that a bank control, your money like that. A banker maybe, but not the whole bank. So I find that interesting. But at the same time, I heard a little interview that she did, and she was like, I have the mind and the body of a 25-year-old, and I was like,
Clearly she was meaning that she was turning it around 52, not 25.
And listen, and when I say mind and the body of a 25-year-old, I'm not even trying to be shady. I'm not trying to be shady at all. But we all know that like a year ago, Wendy passed out on live
Oh,
TV.
and
So
I was watching it because I was like, what
health
has
wise. And
happened?
so for her to say that, then I was like, well, I don't know what's going on. Why would you say that?
It
Why?
is definitely not the body of the physical health. Now, I'm not going to say about looks because
I'm talking about
everyone's
health wise. You know,
yes,
20,
you don't.
25, she wasn't going through the things that she's going through now. So
Oh, absolutely
I
not.
found it interesting
And
that she said it because it kind of pointed to maybe her mental state in the sense of her being maybe delusional. Because I think when they put a story out saying that she had some like early onset dementia.
mm,
I don't know that to be true, but it was just interesting hearing that. It's kind of like, girl, maybe that's why they, holding on to your money so
but
spend it all.
if that be true, part of dementia is not delusions and grandiose.
Oh,
you know.
so you think that like, oh no, this is fine. It's fine. I can do all these things. There's people who they buy stuff. They know exactly how to use their credit cards and they know how to buy stuff online. They call in and they spend a whole bunch of money because they're not thinking rationally. Um,
Yes,
so dementia is not just about memory.
this is true.
Oh,
but also for because I think she banks with Wells Fargo.
mhm,
Um, for them, they're not that company is so much more bigger than Wendy Williams. Like
yeah,
trust and believe. Like I work for companies and my checks came through Wells Fargo.
yeah.
Um, so they are dealing with way more money than what she has on a day-to-day basis. But somewhere, some kind of way, maybe it's an accountant or a family member or something that she has have had some type of concerns and she's given them some type of um legal ability to be able to make some decisions so that they can put that stop on it because the CEOs and stuff like that of
Well, that's why I say it's probably more of a banker. It's not the bank. The banker just works
yes.
for them, and it's her banker who has that right. She said she had to have given them some type of control and sign some type of document saying that, oh, if I reach this limit, then you can make these decisions. And it's unfortunate because not even being funny, we say end of an era. Wendy Williams has surpassed a lot of people in the entertainment gossip realm. And,
Hmm.
it's unfortunate for her that things are ending in this way because it's kind of
Yes.
tragic. It's not on her own terms. And when things are not on your own terms, it's just really hard and it can get even worse because depression can set in and a whole lot of other things. So, I pray the best for her. Um,
Hmm.
it is sad. It is sad. It's unfortunate, um, but she has also, surrounded herself with a lot of negativity. And it's unfortunate. I feel like, and this is not about her, but just in general, like when you
Hmm.
surround yourself with negativity and that's all coming to you all the time, that's all you're into, a lot of times those things kind of show up in your life. And
Yeah.
you
I
know,
would definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. But throughout this, there has been some awesome hosts.
yes, yes, yes.
Awesome hosts.
One of the hosts, Miss Sherry Shepherd, she will actually be getting her own show. I don't know if she's going in that time slot exactly, but she's getting her own show.
Yay.
Exciting. I've seen a couple episodes of her. She does really well with the audience. She really, with Williams, but Sherry Shepherd, uh, she was on The View for years, and she's done a lot of things. She's a comedian, so she has a lot of different background that will bring a lot to the
Oh
table.
yes.
And
Yes.
across different generations. My mom will watch her. I will watch her.
I will too.
A niece that'll watch her. I mean, depending on what they're talking about.
Yes.
But definitely have that crossover appeal, generational appeal. So I'm that's a good thing that came out of it. I'm happy
Yes.
for
I'm glad to see that, she's gonna be booked and busy. And also sometimes it also is like a testament as, something bad may happen. And that really is you thinking it's a setback, but it's a set up for a great come up, come back, and and put you in a place where you probably would have never been before.
her.
So I definitely feel like she's very, very deserving
Yeah.
of it because she has been in a lot of things. And like you said, when she was on a View, she was great there. And then even her tenure there kind of cut short due to some things in her personal life.
Right.
So I don't know if Sherry Shepherd and Wendy Williams are personal friends, but I can definitely see them potentially, depending on what type of women that they are, to reach out to be like, look, babe, it wasn't about that, but I have sat where you sat at, where my very, very personal life was on display and issues with, a husband whom you've had for a long time. The
Honey,
difference was Sherry Shepherd had like a younger son.
right. And her husband weren't together that long. But yeah, they have a lot of things in common, especially with that, because her ex drug her through it, took her through it, and to the point where she had to leave, for her
Yes.
best interest, whatever that may be. But she had to leave, and she left because of that. But I don't know if Wendy will. You should think she's ready for that conversation.
I honestly I don't know. I really and truly don't know. I'm gonna say more. I'm gonna lean more towards no because right now she's in a fight for the control. So if you still trying to fight for control of all of these things. Also for the narrative, you not ready. I don't think that you're just ready to have that conversation where it's just like, you know what? Life has beaten you down, not destroyed you,
Right.
but there definitely has to be some reconstruction, repair. And maybe you can't repair it. You just have to build something new.
Exactly. And I mean, I would think that she has a bigger reach to where
Hmm.
all of this, when the dust settles, that she
Yes.
will be able to rebuild and build something bigger and better. If it's
Yes.
not this, it could, I mean, it could, I would just think that she could do so much. Writing books,
Yes.
movies, being the the behind the scenes where you're bringing different entertainment artists together, or just even bloggers, or there is something that's out there for Wendy. So Wendy, we wish you the best. We
Yes.
really, really do, sister. Um, you know, how you doing? We
I
hope
know.
you're going to be doing much
Very well.
real soon.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
child, the next thing, our little dear brother, Jesse Flint.
Ooh. Honey, he been singing some blues, I'm sure. He's just singing some blues. What he needs to do, put that stuff down on paper and put that music out yourself. You ain't now these days you do not have to have big money, whatever like that. And because of all of this, people people looking to see what he's
Yes,
doing.
absolutely.
Baby, you need to do just like T.I. Once he got out of jail, he prison, he came out, he dropped off 5 albums.
So did he do any time? Did he actually do time? I know. So for those who may not know, some people may not know, Justice Smollett. What was this, like a year ago? I had this.
Maybe two.
Yeah, maybe
It was
2 years
before COVID. It was before
time.
COVID.
No, no, no. It was during COVID. This was like while we was all locked down. I thought. Listen, these last 2.5 years are running together, like for real. But
It really is.
allegedly, he staged this thing where two men attacked him, uh, put a noose around his neck, beat him up. Yeah, and so he reported that, and what has came out is that he paid two Nigerian men to stage this event. Um, I don't know, was it to bring awareness to racial problems, or was
They
it
said it was a plan to propel his career, but it's like
the show was popping like right
you are a
after.
headliner with Terrence Howard, Taraji. They had anybody who was anybody on that show.
I don't know what happened because
Baby, you saw him with Paris
during the
Jackson.
time that happened, I mean, because I watched Empire, that was my show, and I
Yes,
remember his character was really getting like boosted up, and he had a lot of screen time. I think it was a transition. He found a man, and
yes.
we were talking about somebody accepting him with his status because his character was HIV positive, and I think that was really close to the end. They had to kill him off, and it's just like.
It was so premature. It just was awkward. And I think everybody that was fans of the show knew what was happening and knew that he wasn't coming back. And I honestly, I didn't think they was going to kill him off. I thought he was going to go and be with that guy that he met that was like in Europe.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, the way TV go, if they don't kill you off and they don't find your body, it's always able to
You
come
know,
back.
I had to dang it, what was his name? I remember his real name, interesting enough. I usually only remember character's name, but Isaiah Thomas Washington, child,
Yes.
on Grey's Anatomy. Did they kill him off?
I don't I don't know. That was your show. I don't think
I
they
don't
killed
think
him
they had to
off.
kill him off. That he just left and never talked about him. They killed George off. See, I remember that character. They killed George off. I was like, dang. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just took a side journey. Squirrel.
It's okay. It's okay. But I don't know what else was he, because to me his acting career, his sister had started playing in this show called Underground. And I love that show. I hate that they cut it. It didn't have nothing to do with him. But he had not just a cameo, like he was in the show for like 3 episodes, like a strong character. And it's like, bruh, you are booked, you are busy. He was doing shows, he was touring, he was doing that. And during the time where this the show was filming, I was living in Chicago at the time. Like they was all over the city. Like people, they was everybody from that cast in the music industry. Everybody seemed like from all different genres was coming there. Even some upcoming people that you never heard. They had artists on there, clothing designs. Like they had everybody. Like this was a show that was like, guess what? If any you didn't have to be somebody to be on that show. You could have just been somebody that somebody else knew, be like, look, they dope, you need to have them on here. They do X, Y, and Z. And even if it ain't them but just that little bit, and then they would use people real names to try to give them notoriety.
And another thing, I love that show too. That show, Empire, kind of became the show you could go on and new music, because you had
Yeah.
artists that were going on and they would talk about their new music, or their new music would play or something like that. So it's very interesting. Once again, I am a person, I definitely believe in restoration. So I hope that, he can come on the other side of this, write a book, maybe be like OJ. If I would have did it, this what I would have did.
Well, I'm just gonna say this, that I think that it would be rather is I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be rather difficult. And I definitely feel like he lost his fan base amongst Black people, not just Black people that's on the LGBTQ. It's just that as a Black person, we are so, when the police is called or we have to show up for court, or they want to know what happened, we are already kind of deemed as unbelievable. You tell lies. And when they was coming out with me, like, bruh, you set us back 200 years. And it was just like, it wasn't like a funny meme. It was like, you really did every Black person a disservice and an injustice.
For fighting with the police and police brutality, you use that as a platform for your career.
Exactly.
I think
And
it's possible. It may definitely take some time, but I really don't think it's impossible.
no, but just because the nature of you trying to say that it was a racial motivated crime, Black people, there has been over 280 bills that have hit the House floor for hate crimes against Black people. All of them have been shut down. The one, it wasn't even in the works for a whole 365 days for our Asian family members, and it passed. Asian hate bill. They had, but Black people is not. But guess what? I have not seen strange fruit throughout the years like that. I haven't seen where people, they have been raped, mutilated, drugged behind cars and trucks. Just all type of stuff. And it's like, you made it even harder because somebody's going to use that example. Like, look, it couldn't have been racially motivated.
They may have staged it. That would be the question. But was it staged? And let's figure out if it was staged. I mean, I hope for the best one. I do.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, the people who stage, they can have their own reality TV show. I don't think one of the people one person just got out of one. The other person probably don't want to be on another. Me and Kanye, and they are popular. I will say this.
Instead of Cain versus Abel, it's Cain versus Cain.
Child. But outside, yes, Kim might love the media, but I will say being harassed, that doesn't make it okay. But honey, they listen. As everybody said, please take us out of the group chat. Please.
Exactly. What you want us to do? You want us to go and whoop her?
And half the stuff you're complaining about, this is what, they say baby daddy's complaining about.
Not just that, but guess what? Before Kanye went into the second place, he was rapping about this shit. Excuse me. So guess what? I don't know if you foretold it, but I don't know. The Kardashian family has some type of gravitational pull with people, just like Donald Trump. When people get in their hemisphere, they don't make the best decisions. And a lot of times they leave from their atmosphere, their circle, worse than when they came. And I seen a little clip where she went on Ellen and she's like, I just don't say nothing negative. That's the father of my children.
you said a statement right there, because the majority of people that are no longer in their circle, they are not, except Jordan, honey. Jordan was able to flip that thing, honey. He's definitely better off not.
Well, guess what? Not just Jordan, but Black China, because she's been suing them and she's been winning.
But I think that is also because those were two women who, to a degree, it was like by choice, and I'm gonna fight. Like with Jordan, she like, I don't want those problems, and she did have another environment she was in. That was the Smiths, honey, and smart girl, smart girl. It's like, I'm gonna be able to tell my story on my term, on a media and a platform that the Kardashians don't control or have some type of influence.
Hmm.
So I think that was very smart, and I can appreciate someone using their platform to help someone like that. And Black China, she's smart. She went in the situation and out the situation, knowing what was up. Period.
This is true because you know what, Black China, she from the streets, and I mean, like her mother is hilarious, but I do like they dynamic. It is toxic to a certain extent, but they're just so much alike. But sometimes people just look at like, look, I'm not going back from whence I came. Like that poverty, that I don't know, I ain't going back to the pole no more. I ain't stripping, no none of that. It's almost like that time when Jocelyn Hernandez was talking to Stevie, like, you can't put me back on that pole. I'm not going back to that pole. Like she was crying. Like I felt it. Like, guess what? It was just like, look, this has to work.
Right.
This will work because that wasn't living. That was not living. So, but yeah, I want to be out of the group chat, but some of it I'm not saying that they don't have the issues and stuff like that, but I still kind of wanted the validity of it all just because they love the media so much. And Chris Jenner, she is she pimp her kids out and stuff like that, and she knows how to navigate all of that to try to make it, what it is.
I
But
don't think Kanye's giving them content. That's
oh,
I definitely feel that he is giving the content, honey. He's giving the girls exactly what they want and they need. I don't think that they are making him and influencing him to do it, but it's like he doesn't even, you were, as much as you were in their presence and in their lives, you don't realize how they work. And so you're consistently giving them content. Right.
but just in a nutshell, we are sick of them.
Yes. I just take us out of the group chat. That's all I'm saying. Take us out. I don't want to be in,
Because I don't know what we supposed to do. What do we supposed to do, Kanye?
not
Like,
talk about it. But that's what they like. So we giving them exactly what they like right now. We're a part. We're actually stepping into the group chat. Actually,
yes,
think about it.
yes, yes,
What they like.
yeah. But I guarantee you, all them kids gonna be just like Kanye. Kim, you know what? You don't know Kanye until you got full of kids calling your name that you can't get rid of them or nothing. And every last one of them have some attributes of Kanye, and it's just like, okay, Kanye time for. I
Yeah.
can tell it. He got strong genes that look like him, and guaranteed they act like him. And then when they do the little memes, like North got that, she a whole mood. No, she a whole Kanye.
That is facts. She definitely is a whole Kanye. And I mean, this is not to say that all parts of Kanye is bad. There's a reason
No.
why they were together. Um, you know, I'm sure he was a great person. I know a lot of people have talked about the new documentary
Mm-hmm.
out that is out on Netflix about his life. I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't seen all of it. I haven't taken the time to do that.
Neither have
I
I.
really want to watch it because they were talking about how much of a genius he is, and how much of a genius you could see it, presently watching it. And so, I mean, he has great, wonderful, qualifications and
Mm-hmm.
characteristics. So I hope the kids get more of that, and it's interesting, you know, for someone who was in the media and actually saw a lot of the things that went on in that house that he went in. And it makes me ask the question, is ignorance bliss? Because did you go in thinking you were different? Did you go in thinking, oh, it wasn't really like that? Did you not watch the show? Is ignorance bliss? And that's what our topic is about tonight.
Yes. Yes.
Our topic tonight is don't look up. Is ignorance bliss? And just like we said earlier, it's less about a review of the movie.
Mm.
Amazing movie. Started watching it with my mom. Interesting enough, she wanted to watch it, and I just kept saying, "But it's supposed to be funny." Like,
Right.
but it was so good, I couldn't turn it off. That was the weird thing. And as it kept going, it was like one of those books that was slow to get started.
Hmm.
But like when you get in, it's like, oh my god, I can't wait to get to the end. That's how I felt. And the movie all star cast,
Oh
all
yes. Everybody was somebody in that movie.
yeah,
Everyone was. It was a great movie. I love sci-fi. So I was here from it at the beginning. It was just kind of like, oh, discovered a rock hurling towards the earth. This is gonna be good. Because like none of those people had ever played in a show, like in a movie like that. I never have seen them. They are not typical sci-fi characters and stuff. They're
right.
more drama, some you know, drama comedy or whatever like that, a romance comedy. But just to see them all in that, and it was so many parallels to what is happening now. Coronavirus, the war in Ukraine, and just the entertainment. People, they want to be entertained. It is like I keep going back to that gladiator. Are you not entertained? And it's just like, yes. And the crowd goes wild. And it's like people, they just want, I think life is very difficult. It is very, very stressful. And people, they need those escapes. So it's just like, if there is something that can take my mind away from this, bring it on. And
And
people,
look,
they just gluttonous with it. It's like, give me more of it.
and we talked about the all star cast. One of the people, Leonardo DiCaprio. So
Oh,
that lets
I
you know
love him.
A1, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep. When I saw Meryl Streep, I was like, really? Okay, so let me keep
She
watching.
made it. She made the cut, baby.
Yes, Tyler Perry was
Yes.
that
Yes.
was surprising. That was very surprising. But and just to give a brief overview of the movie and then get into the meat of tonight's discussion, like Renee said, it was the scientists discovered a rock, a meteor coming to Earth. They did the calculations, and it's like, oh my god, this is huge, and it's gonna hit the Earth in 6 months. And if
Mm-hmm.
nothing, we are all dead.
Mm-hmm.
So they went on a campaign for 6 months trying to tell the world, hey, this is happening. Something needs to happen. We need to stop this from happening. Listen, it was the craziest thing. They would go on like something, I can't remember the name of the show, but it's like Good Morning America.
Yes.
Like,
It was
hey,
very parallel to that.
yeah, can you make it happier?
Yes, and it was just like, this is too serious. And it's like, we all about to die. How much more serious is that? Like, we on the clock, people. Like, we ain't got time for these games. And then it was just kind of like, you see how the producers and the hosts and stuff, it's just like, no, like, dumb it down. Like, please dumb it down. Like, we know that you have many degrees and accolades, and you can do all this and navigate the sky with the position of the earth and stars, but it's just like, no, we don't want that. Can you do you got a joke?
And
Do you
then
got a joke or something? It's
boom,
like,
the president, Meryl Streep was actually the president of the
yeah.
United States. So they had a meeting with her, and then he's just like, oh, we need to do something when they finally figured out. And then all of a sudden, some billionaire, maybe an Elon Musk type or Bill Gates was like, oh, we need to stop it because there's all these minerals and diamonds on it, and we could use that. So instead of just breaking it up, we can instead of exploding, we can break it up so they can fall on Earth. We can use those minerals. So in the middle of them supposed to be destroying the meteor, they actually didn't do that. And then they went on a campaign saying, don't look up, because of course the scientists are telling everyone, listen, this is what's happening, because they were trying to get, the people behind them to push
Mm-hmm.
um, their politicians, say, hey, we need to do something. Long story short, It was
Didn't
don't
work.
look up, don't look up, you know, so you don't have to pay attention to
Like
it.
it's not real.
It's not
What
real.
they're saying is fake. You see the correlation between Rona? It
Well,
ain't real.
well, not just that, honey. They tell us a lot of stuff is fake. But what was crazy is you've been telling people don't look up, and by the time they look up, it's too late.
It's already on your head. At
Literally,
that point, it is
everybody
so close to the earth. It was, you definitely need to watch the
oh,
show.
sorry. But I mean, hey, there's one part of the movie we don't have to give away, the very end of the movie, because
Yes.
that is kind of interesting too. And that you could dig deeper into that as well. But
Oh my God.
but the thing about it is, you know, why we say the overarching theme was is ignorance bliss is because the scientists they spent 6 months of their last day on Earth trying to get everybody to believe them.
Mm-hmm.
They spent 6 months of their last days on Earth being afraid, having anxiety, not enjoying life.
No, not definitely not living. They're trying to see if they can save humanity, which
Get it, but it's
I
like
can understand that. But the roadblocks, like these people
exactly,
don't want to be saved.
exactly. And so their last few minutes on Earth, they were able to enjoy. But it's like just imagine had they known, but say, you know what, nobody believe us. I'm just gonna enjoy it. Would or they have not seen it. Would have what would their last 6 months have been like if they just kept living their life the way
Much.
they could, you know? So that's why that would brought the question of is ignorance bliss? Because the same for on the opposite side of just the everyday people, the
Yes,
people who wouldn't believe, they were able to just enjoy their lives. Or I mean, everybody probably wasn't enjoying their life, but they went about
absolutely.
life as it was without that additional stress. So, Renee, do you think that ignorance is bliss?
Well, first, let's let's say what ignorance is by definition, because some people they immediately think like, oh, well, if you call a person ignorant, is something very, very condescending. But when we just talking about what is the true definition, can you give that to the
So,
audience?
the basic definition of ignorance is the lack of knowledge or information. Simply
Okay.
put,
That
ignorance.
is very, very simple. And when you look at it, you can tell how this word has been hijacked and given all types of bad ammunition, because I'm not an engineer. I
Mm-hmm,
don't know how the mechanism of my refrigerator works, but I know I plug it in and electricity is hot, but inside of it's cold.
mm-hmm,
That's all I know. So I'm ignorant as how the actual cooling mechanism and electricity goes from the power lines and stuff. But that doesn't mean that I'm stupid. It's
exactly.
just that that's not my realm of expertise. However, you ask me some stuff about the body, ask me things about, healthcare, hospitals and stuff. I know that. So it's just that people have information of what they expertise is. It's just like, look, if I want to bake a cake, I ain't going to the mechanic.
Let me. It's interesting you bring up a refrigerator because when the last place that I worked, when we had to get a new refrigerator for our reagents and things like that. Well, actually, a new freezer.
Mm-hmm.
Funny because I don't know how these things work, but being a supervisor, I had to ask all these different questions. And so when they actually brought in the new one, it was taking a long time to cool. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that it didn't have anything to do with me, but because I had to do this research on and ask all these questions, I had to ask how was it transported? Because they talked about how depending on how things are transported and how it's packed, that would determine how it cools when it comes in. And
Mm-hmm.
so had I not done this additional study, I would have
Yeah.
not known, and then I couldn't actually defend our position because they were trying to say it was something that we did that it's not working. It's like, first of all, it's a new machine. What would we have done to break it? And so
Right.
in that position, it's like, yeah, I had all this extra information, but it actually paid off for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but sometimes it's like it's better not to know.
But it was a situation that you was put in to propel you to go and to look up that information. Because prior to this, like as long as it's working, it's working.
Hello, it's honey, and that's the big thing. When it ain't working, oh, that is where all the big problems come in.
Yes. Um, I definitely think ignorance is bliss. But I think that sometimes it can be categorical because some things I with my personal experience just these last 2 weeks with my son, knowing it was extra stress on me because it's like, okay, I know what the rate is of people who have issues with anesthesia, have that. People who have issues with just surgery, people who have issues with long surgeries. Okay. And my son basically had 3 surgeries in one. So I'm looking at all of these different type of things. I know medications that they're going to use. I know the side effects of all of that. And it's just like, he ain't going to make it out of there. Like with all of the bad stuff that could happen, and it's like you add this to add this to add this to add this to add this. It's like it's nothing shy. It's nobody but God that a person comes out and they're still alive, you know, from surgery. However, other people that does not have that medical background, they just go in and they hope and they pray that the surgeons do what they supposed to be doing. Everything is going good. There's no complications or anything. So in that case, sometimes having too much information is like I don't want to be 100% ignorant, but guess what? I could have scaled it back 80% and it would have been okay because it was
I could have went without knowing it.
yes, yes, and it's kind of like I had to know all of this stuff to pass my classes and all this other different type of things. But then when it's happening to you,
Mhm.
and what's going on with them, to your own loved one or to yourself, it just compounds that. But then some things you have no clue to know about, and it's nothing to.
Don't know.
Yes, and sometimes you can get to a point where you don't know things because you don't even know what to ask.
Right.
Just like we gave the refrigerator situation. You knew they was going to ask you questions, so you had to go and research. But the only thing was, that everything that went wrong, and then as your manager, you had to have some type of concrete evidence or whatever to be able to say, like, hey, this is what X, Y, and Z was. But otherwise, it's nothing that's just like, you know what? I want to know how the refrigerator works.
Exactly. And what would make it not work? Exactly.
Other
Exactly.
than unplug it. That's the main thing. Like, what is it plugged up? I
And
don't think nobody behind it.
if it's plugged up, is electricity coming out the plug?
Right. Did somebody check the breaker box? So I definitely think ignorance is bliss, but it's definitely categorical. So I don't think it's a blanket statement.
I have to agree with you. There was a study, December 2021.
Oh,
And
that's recent.
it said whether people inform themselves or remain ignorant is due to 3 factors.
Mm.
It's very interesting. Uh, they say that after they did their research, they said the researchers found that most people prioritize one of the 3 motives: feelings, usefulness, frequency of thought, over the other feelings of tendency to remain relatively stable across time and domain, suggesting that what drives each person to seek information is like a trait. And they say that the 3 factors are expected utility, emotional impact, and whether it was relevant to the things they thought of often. So, expected utility is kind of your expected outcome. So,
Mm.
this is what I expect to happen. So, when I go research, I'm going to look for like, what does this look like when X, Y, and Z? Because that's my expected outcome. That's my expected end. Um, and I think that's true. With
And in statistics, they have something called like bias in there, and you want no bias in there. Where that's why they do these double-blinded cohort studies where nobody knows whatever it is. Because if you're already expecting something and you know what you want your outcome to be, you already looking through it at a lens, and you could be very neglectful for other important things.
and even in research and numbers, they make room for bias because in
Yes.
certain things, depending on what you're researching, in certain things, it's impossible to completely set aside your bias, your previous known information. So
Absolutely.
you actually have to make room for that as well, because the same thing, even if you're doing a poll, that person may have an expectation of what you're asking them, so therefore they answer how you expect them to answer. So that could be true for us just having a conversation. Like, if you know my general views on something, and then we start talking about something that's very close to it, you may conform to what you think, I want you to hear,
Mm.
what I want to hear. I mean, you wouldn't do that, but general terms,
Yeah.
people do that, and it could be something big. It could be political. It could just be what you feel like eating, right?
Yes.
Somebody who
Absolutely.
doesn't really eat fish that often, you may not suggest fish, and you might kind of want fish, but it's like, I'm not going to suggest fish because this person don't like fish that often. But that is what uh, expected utility is, and then the other one, emotional impact. We
Mm-hmm.
definitely research it.
It's almost unanimous. We know exactly what that means because people don't like to be put in uncomfortable places. But I think sometimes that's when growth happens, when you do become uncomfortable, when you no longer can sit there. And it's an awakening situation because it's kind of like when you sleep, most people they sleep, you're in one spot, you're not moving, you're not doing anything. But once you become awake and you know some stuff, it's like, guess what? I got to get to moving.
Yep.
You got to get to moving.
When we
And a
decide to
lot
look
of,
up and look at the media,
yes.
it's like,
And
oh, shoot.
and I think a lot of people they don't like change. Change is very, very emotional for them. And who knows what that could stem from, because all change is not bad change.
Right. But
It's
some
just
people
not.
don't even things that could be potentially good. Some people still don't like change. And I think a lot of times that is connected to the fear of unknown, right?
Hmm.
Like, even though they mean, oh, this really could be good, but I really don't know. Because I don't know how it's going to
Mm.
turn out. So therefore, I rather stick with what I know doesn't work, because at least I know I can control that and I know what to expect.
Yes.
Well,
Those are the people that still rocking that same one hairstyle from the 80s. Once they get to about 25 years old and then they realize, like, hey, I don't like change. But like when you're a child, you just living and you just existing. And I don't think all of that stuff really bothers you. But then they just get very, very stuck. And then you stuck in that mindset as well. It's not just, oh, I'm going to wear this hairstyle, you know.
I mean, and just comparing it in the movie for those people who were deciding not to pay attention to I mean, because although um, the media was saying something opposite, if you were watching the show and you're listening to them, you still could have chosen to believe them. But how does that emotionally impact you? You know,
Mhm.
do I have time for that? I don't have time to listen to y'all and think about the world ending when I got bills to pay. I have all these other things going on. So emotionally, I don't actually have the time to even think about, is that real? Because if it's real, child, we all dying. So I think, especially with what we all have been went through, when, for me, I have my own personal feelings about people, who just refuse to wear a mask. But at the same time, you know, it's like, dang, there's an emotional impact for these people. I may not agree with your opinion, but there's a lot of people who can afford for coronavirus to be real.
Exactly. And this is the thing.
Today.
A lot of at this point, I think worldwide, everybody knows someone or they themselves that has been impacted due to corona. Whether it was like they actually got it, they passed away, the economic about it, their job change. Everybody now on the planet has had some type of effect of coronavirus. Because if you was living here, whatever like that, unless like you was in one of the remote places and people ain't even know that you was there, you still stuff was shut down. So everybody's lives was shut down due to it. Now, if they think it was for one reason or another, that's something different. However, but then you look at a lot of the number one killer of people in the United States is heart disease. There's still people that I know that have never known anyone to have a heart attack. However, they believe high blood pressure is real. They know that people they have heart attacks. People but it does not affect your everyday life if you yourself or if your loved one do not have that high blood pressure. So you see what it does to the body. But these people, come on, it ain't real. It ain't
And
real.
also, if we talk about high blood pressure, I mean, there's so many people who live with so many things, so they take on that attitude of, well, A, you got to die with something. B, this person has lived all this time and they've had it. And C, well, like you said, people don't really know that many people who have died of a heart attack.
Yes, even though it's one of the number one killers.
Yeah, but I think it's more that here's the going to is ignorance bliss. Maybe because people don't actually report a heart attack.
Sometimes people don't even know, but that's why they call it's a silent killer. If your blood pressure is all kind of out of whack, your body accommodates that. It doesn't cause you pain. Same way with diabetes and stuff. And a lot of times, most of the people they have diabetes, and as a downstream effect, they end up getting heart disease or high blood pressure and stuff because of the kidney function. But all of that, it's a silent disease. You just don't see people falling out.
Yeah, and you can actually look up all of this stuff. This information is readily available.
Yes.
You can know the number one killer in the U.S. specifically, but yet people don't eat right. They don't exercise. They drink because drinking does affect your heart, people. It's not just your liver. Okay.
Yes.
I don't drink. I'm just saying because I do get a little toasty sometimes. However, I am very much aware of my intake because alcohol does affect your heart.
Exactly. It affects a lot of stuff. But I think because most of those, though they speaking of high blood pressure and diabetes, they are silent killers, but the length of time, the decrease is a gradual decrease of quality of life. There's a little things that are happening to your body that compounds, and then after 20-30 years of uncontrolled or just all over the place, high blood pressure or heart disease and diabetes, then you start seeing these effects. And sometimes you see those in a much older population, but now we're seeing them in younger population because people, they have more sedentary lifestyle. But I think because with coronavirus, it's so quick.
Right.
It's very, very quick. It's kind of
it can affect all your organs.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's kind of swift, and we still yet to see what are the long-term effects of this. Read a little study where it said that they've noticed that some of your gray matter is decreased after you get coronavirus. I was like, Lord, don't tell me I'm finna get a white brain.
Well,
and I'm still paying for all these student loans to say I ain't stupid.
On the person, there are some people who are dealing with long haul coronavirus. I don't know if everybody knows about that, but it's those people who got COVID and they have literally never gotten better. They may not have a cough, but they have now they have what is it?
Neuropathy.
Thank you. Or neurological issues.
Yes.
They have lung issues. They have headaches. It's called long haul COVID is the term that has been coined because they are actively dealing with the symptoms and the side effects of having COVID.
Yeah.
Which is like being sick to the day you die. And that's young people, not just older people with it, so I mean, but even in the idea of someone being older, when you talk to people, when I talked to my grandmother about certain things, there were certain things that she wished she had known, right? Like, I wish I should have known that I should have been doing Kegels when I was younger. Kegel exercises. Wouldn't have some of the issues I'm having now. Or just even with her back, my grandmother loved walking. That was her exercise, and that is definitely one of my exercises. And I keep her in my mind because I know when I'm 80, I want to be healthy. And so I know, and I'm not ignorant to the fact that you need to be taking care of your body right now, so that when you're 80, you're not in a lot of pain. You do your best to be your healthiest self, because we don't have to get older and have all these things. We don't.
Oh no.
A lot of us do because that is what we see, and so therefore we don't do anything to preemptive. That's what you're gonna die of something. Let me tell y'all. I want to die and be like, all right, Lord, I'm ready. That's how I want to die. Okay?
I
I
want to go to
don't
sleep.
travel. I still want to enjoy my life. Of course, I'm not going to be out 80 like I was 40 or I was 20 like Wendy Williams. But I definitely want to be enjoying my life. And it's important now that I'm not ignorant of that information and I'm doing the work now. So the third one was based on relevance.
Mm,
Very here specifically, right? Given my example with my grandmother, I know how it hurt to me, although my grandmother was 83 when she passed. She was not 83, she would have been 83 this year, she was 82. Um, I really still feel like she could have lived longer. And so the
mhm,
relevance of finding the information and what I should be doing now is based on my grandmother's life. It's based on what
mhm,
I want. Would I be searching out certain things had I not experienced things with my grandmother? Probably not.
mhm,
Not, especially since I know I want something different. When I'm older, I want to be able to be more mobile, but
mhm,
that's what's relevant to me. And that may
mhm,
be very different for the next person.
mhm,
You know?
mhm.
So relevance, I think that's very important about that makes sense, I should say, as to what makes people going to look into information.
Yes, and that does make sense that what is important to you is what you're going to seek out. However, as part of, like we said when we did our other show with New Year's resolutions, learn something new. Learn something outside of the box. You just don't know. There may be something that you didn't know, but once you did find out, it's like, guess what? That's great. Like who was talking earlier about things things that come in, like next month is safe digging month, and it was like, safe digging, what
It's
is you digging? And it went through where you can call a number 811 to find out, and it's free, where it said that people, they're not digging bad stuff. They're like, want to plant a tree. So you're going to dig a little bit deeper than 6 inches. They're going to want to put a fence in or something. And they didn't know that, guess what? It's a gas line that goes here. It's a water line. It's underground fiber optics, and stuff has happened. People have died. And it was like, I definitely could have lived without knowing that, but it's good to know it just in case I want to just go out here and just dig a hole and put a tree in there.
I mean,
Or
think about it.
some,
In the future, Corey may say, "Mom, I want to put," or you may have a tree, and that's information you can give him. But if you didn't know, you didn't know, and then it,
like, boy, you go out there and get the digging, you about to blow up. What you mean about to blow up? Especially like if it's in a residential area. Like if it's somewhere like in like where I'm from originally, South Carolina, in the place that I'm from, where our house is at, there there's not, we know the water source to the house. Like everywhere else you could probably dig and find more water, but a lot of places it's not like that, and sometimes people, they just don't know, and it could be old pipes or something. But it was just one of those things, like, you didn't know, but clearly it may not kill you, but okay, I want to put a deck on the back of my house, but I need to put these poles down at least 3 to 4 feet, and I done messed something up, and something that should have had just took a weekend to build. Now they done come in, I had to dig up all the back of my yard. Now
exactly.
it's a 6 month, and the city ain't paying for your dug up dirt. They probably ain't even gonna turn it
You're
back
not
down. You
paying
gotta
for
be back
your
out there and pack it down.
and
So
if all your look, and if you lose gas, you might have to go and stay in a hotel. That's on you, boo.
and and guess what? This is one thing like I've seen where, sometimes you see like the fire hydrant and it's just running, 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 running. Every time I go past something, I was like, man, the water bill going to go up, because everybody in the area has to pay for that water that's just being wasted coming out of that. So you don't never know. Like sometimes you get your bill like, why does it go up? It may never be $5 or $10, but guess what? That affected everybody pipe. So guess what? If
Okay,
you
it's fine.
do power, peak money, gas, whatever your electric company, they finna get their money.
They sending you a bill, Renee. Your neighbor sending you a bill like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to pay this $10 because this your fault.
We fighting because guess I know you went out there digging that hole. You could have called 811. You just want to dig and
Not
put
you could have
sand
called 811. Like you could have called 811. You didn't know. Actually, I don't know if that was here in Georgia or if it was in Tennessee. It had to be in Georgia because you would have heard it. But I can remember hearing some um marketing commercials on the radio about if you get
Mhm.
ready to call 811.
Really?
Mhm.
It had to be there because I that was the first time I ever heard it.
I
I know
definitely
311 and 911.
Now, I can't say I hear it every day, but I have definitely heard those. I've heard those. So it probably is here. That's probably a bigger issue here, especially because there's a lot of things that run on gas
Mhm.
out here. So it's probably and it's a lot of homes that have gas. Like even in my home, I have electricity and gas. And I didn't have gas before in Tennessee. So that
I have gas and electric. I
probably
can do without the bill, but I definitely tell you it makes a difference in the heating of your
oh,
home.
yes it does. Yes it does. I love it.
It's different from when your heat come from a source of fire versus it's just some pipes that got warm up. It is very
Well,
different.
so I found another article. I like articles, child. But I found
Yes.
another article that kind of discussed like people. It says people sometimes seek the truth, but most prefer like-minded views. So that's like what the article
Mm.
was about. It was in 2009 that they did this. This was the source was out of the University of Urbana, Champaign,
Urbana.
Urban.
Urbana.
Girl, you was what is it called? Chicagoan? You was a Chicagoan for a little bit. Is that correct?
Is that what they call them?
I don't know.
Chirac thugs?
Well, you was part of the
No, I was not part of them. But guess what? Let me tell you, everywhere I look, it's a city of thugs, baby. When they sit up there and say that city was it's ran by a mafia, like you can tell it's a little underlying mafia town. Yeah, it's a whole lot. It's a thug city. It
well,
ain't a place to play.
the Thug City had this article, and what the researchers found was that people are about twice as likely to select information that supports their own point of view. This is by
Mhm.
67%. As to consider opposing ideas, 33%. So 33% of the time you may, consider someone else's idea.
Mm.
It says certain individuals, those with closed-minded personalities, are even more reluctant to expose themselves to differing perspectives. It said they will opt for information that corresponds to their view nearly 75% of
Wow.
the time. So let's just think about I'm a Fox News people. Now, I ain't
Well,
opposed to the stuff they talk about everything in Fox. It's nice to have a little balance. But
yeah.
sometimes you hear, these stories, like you have these little things on social media where someone goes and asks someone a question, and they're like, "Yeah, they're really bad," and then the announcers like give them the facts, and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't know, but they're still bad." You know,
Hmm.
I think of those people when I hear that because they have this information. I mean, are they ignorant? Initially, maybe they're not ignorant because they don't have the information. So they are having opinions based on their own, what they think. Most times,
And I think some of it is
but
it's
once you get the information, you still like, no, no.
right.
That's definitely ignorant.
Because those people, like you said, if it's 75%, it's gonna take an act of God to really get their mind changed. And I think it goes much more deeper than just their belief. I think because they're around like-minded people, so that means their family probably was that way, so on and so forth. So there has been an indoctrination of
Yeah,
those people. So these are things that has been woven into their foundation, into their ethic, their moral code, or whatever like that. And you are going against. So you trying to say my mommy and daddy was wrong? You
it's so
trying to say my granddaddy was wrong? It is hard to make a comeback from that.
And if especially like they said, these people are so close minded. Close minded sounds like you have all these differing opinions coming towards you all the time, and you're always choosing something opposite of it. But I think most, like as you said, most close minded people is because they're not getting a lot of opposing opinions.
Exactly. So
Around people that believe the same thing they believe and just perpetuate these ideas based on a lot of non-fact information,
yeah, and
so they remain ignorant.
when they hear something that's different, that's very contradictory of what they already know to be true
Right.
is very, very foreign. And it's kind of like, you the only person who said this, but literally everybody else around me have not said that. So it kind of makes like, ain't nothing wrong with me. It's definitely something that is wrong with you. So I think with that, yes, the ignorance in the true term, they don't know. But because they haven't had new information come into the fold. And because that changing, as I say, it's an emotional aspect. I'm not finna watch nothing that make me mad, because typically if they watch something else, it's so different. And it's just like, hold up, it makes you mad because it's like, how do they believe it? But I think it definitely goes to the core. So even if they see something different on television, it's like they can't see it. Is definitely a mental block there, because they've been indoctrinated since they was children.
Is connected to so many things. It's like, okay, so if I now choose to believe you, that means this is not what my mama said, my daddy said, my grandfather said. And then what else, what other things that are incorrect? Because sometimes one thought can change the trajectory of how you think about something in every aspect. And so
Mm-hmm.
usually you're fighting against that. And a lot of times for people, when it comes to ignorance, and especially those settings, and this is not just in a racial way, this is like in a lot of things, it is so much easier to remain ignorant
Yeah.
because you can stay in your circle. You're
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable in your circle because the moment you look up and you think something different, you believe something different, it's hard to have conversations with the same people because they believe differently than you, like extremely different than you. And not that it's a difference, but it's just like y'all really don't want to give me, y'all really don't want to hear this truth I'm trying to give y'all, and that can become frustrating. It can, those relationship dynamics start changing, and so in those instances, a lot of people choose to stay ignorant because it's easier. And it honestly that makes sense. It
And I say this, and maybe some people, from what they, because they know they may be the only one, and it's hard to go up against everybody else in the room.
right.
And so they may still, hey, I'm saying these things, or I'm just in the room and I'm not saying nothing, but they truly believe something different because they have some new knowledge. But they just know they can't spread it amongst it, because it's like, everybody in this town, everybody I went to school with, everybody at work at the school, everybody at work at the courthouse, my neighbors, the church, like literally every single person believes that particular way. And then that also kind of tells you how, when it's time to vote, which this is a election year too, where they categorize people, okay, not just male, female, racial lines. What do you worship? The Baptists, the Anglo Saxons, are you Catholic? All of those. Then they go into, okay, high school diploma people, college degree people, what age bracket you're in. So you can tell, like, they have such an interconnected web, because it must, for the people who have did that type of statistical work, it has to be very, very apparent when you start asking these people questions. It's just like, guess what? Then we know exactly what to say to these type of group of people to get them rallied up to want to believe us or not.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at, just speaking of like Democrats, a lot of times they go to major cities and stuff like that. They don't go to those little nook and cranny hillbilly towns and stuff, because they already know. Guess what? They sold up. They read. You can't infiltrate those people, because they already know it's so generational. And
Right.
so they go to it. Definitely they can still win these states and stuff over, but it's the bulk of the people that's in bigger cities, where you have more of a mixture of types of people, different resources, and all, just different things that are available to them and what they get exposed to. Versus, guess what? You out there in Greasy Corn, Arkansas, and you still ain't getting them at 3 channels.
Well, I would say this, that I mean that whole analogy, honestly, it's true for any topic. It's true for
Mm-hmm.
religion. It's true for when we talk about religion versus spirituality and
Mm-hmm.
what type of school you should go to. It can be about any and everything that people choose ignorance. Sometimes people choose ignorance, or people choose not to know more information. They choose not to be be more informed. And if someone brings just a different idea, an opposing idea, it becomes very like they're butting heads because they don't
Yeah.
want to hear it. Because a lot of times when certain ideas um, and societal norms are challenged, people don't want no. It is a
Mm-mm.
societal norm for a reason, and we wanted to stay this way because it's comfortable, and that is
Exactly.
every area. It's because I can think about it in for me. I can
Mhm.
think about it for me. There's certain things that we'll say. In my family dynamic that we believe, in my family dynamic. And what if someone tries to bring, or me, I try to bring a new idea? What does that look like in my family dynamic when everybody
Mhm.
does a certain thing? And I'm not saying this has happened or not, but what does that look like? It could be anything. It could be like, oh, we should have a Saturday dinner and not a Sunday dinner. It's something real basic, right? And it's like, well, we've been doing this for 15 years. Why would we change it now? I mean, that is something so simple. I mean, it's a little different, but it's like you still get that pushback of change. How many people think the same? Myself and my brother may agree based on the fact that, well, they say that on Saturdays you have more time and then you have more time to digest your food. I am making up
Yeah.
you have more time to digest your food before you go back to work on Monday. So blah blah.
Yeah.
But it shows up in multiple areas of our life, not just on the big platforms, racial and political stage.
I
Um,
think in those families, they still get invited to the cookout. I got a cousin, he definitely believed that the world is flat. I don't know when he started believing it, but it definitely was somewhere on the lines of him becoming more
that
active on
was
Facebook. But guess what? He gets still get invited to the cookout because he found a grill. Nobody don't care. Just like I told him, I said, okay, so if it is flat, what you gonna do? Move off the earth? So it's just like it's just it don't make no sense. It's just like some people believe that raisins go in potato salad. They don't realize that back in the day, the raisins accidentally fell over in the potato salad. Sometimes say we can still eat that, and then now you feel like, guess what? You still coming? Just ain't nobody eating that slop. You still get to come. Like, look, guess what they said? Bring their stupid ass on. Look, don't pay them no attention. They be on some old shit, whatever. Like, that's what. Look, that's how the family members be like. Don't talk to them. They be talking crazy. They trying to change rules. Like they just stupid. But we gonna invite them. They gonna have their money on time for the shirts for the family reunion and stuff like that. So guess what? They still get invited. Just nobody don't pay them no attention. Nobody ain't gonna eat their slop or they food. Like don't eat their food.
Let me
What
ask
y'all want me to bring? Nothing. Just bring you. But guess what? They got out the car and when they went around to the other side, like God damn it, they brought something. And everybody watching to see exactly what it is and where they place it. And it's just everybody ain't everything except for this. Like man, you know, you know.
we told you to bring plates. That's what we asked you to bring. We didn't ask you to bring anything.
Yeah, so those ignorant people, they still get it. They still around the family. They still come on. Cause guess what? They coming anyway. You can't oust them out. Cause guess what? They just like those astronomers. I'm trying to change y'all. The rock is coming. It's
No,
like
no, but you're right though. Like even in the smallest way, you are absolutely right. Like when people feel like they have this new knowledge, it is hard to turn it off. It's hard to be like, okay, well, whatever, y'all perish, right? So now I have this information that, oh, you need to be eating avocados and cucumbers. That'll be great for your blood pressure. I could see somebody saying, "Well, I'm gonna just always bring it." At some point, someone's gonna eat it. They're not, but at some point, someone's gonna eat it. But you're right. You're absolutely right, and it's hard to turn it off. And I think that's the whole thing when we say, "Don't look up," or you woke. Like once you're awake, once you've looked up, you cannot look down. You cannot.
that is so true.
You
That is
cannot undo it. And now you're trying to get everybody on board with you. And it is stressful. It is stressful because I can think about some things because like, especially when like, I know that this is right. I mean, that's still an opinion, but it's like, I know that this is right. And I'm going to help you because I love you and I care about you. You can't turn them off. Like you said, they can turn up. Now, when it comes to like serious stuff, race, politics, sometimes you just have to stay away. or the people around you don't want you around. This is a difficult conversation. But just in,
Exactly.
they keep showing up because it's like, no, no, no. But even in those situations, I think people a lot of times they'll back off. Like one of
Mm-hmm.
my managers in my internship, we talked about some dynamics in her family, and you know she doesn't go around as much about particular family, but she still goes, and every opportunity she has to like interject, she does it. But as she said, it's exhausting. So she
Mm,
doesn't always do it. It's like she don't always show it because it's exhausting. Which I can
mm.
imagine that you're always feeling like you having to fight this fight because I'm not going to let you sit and say stupid stuff.
Right. She's definitely trying to protect her peace. And then sometimes some people they have thrown their hands up and just like, you know what, I'm done. I have definitely tried my best. And there may be a situation or some moment where it's like, okay, I I might be able to slide in and they will, but otherwise it's just kind of like, what, I'm gonna let you be. So some of this I feel I understand Noah. He was preaching 40 years it was gonna rain and people ain't believe it. When it started raining, it was still out there dancing in the rain.
Like, that
But
was
then, but guess what? When it started getting around your kneecap, keep knocking, but you can't
the
come
whole
in.
time he was building it because you didn't have to help. But I bet ignorance was painful when you was drowning.
Like they say, everybody, oh, it's fine. Y'all got your little terracotta pots out there. You're catching rainwater. You're just drinking rain water and stuff. And they say it's dry. As I say, it rained for 40 days. So we've been in a situation where it has rained 2, 3 days. Okay, this rain was not just being absorbed, but guess what? When it got around your kneecap, okay. Um, I'm pretty sure it just wasn't a rush of everybody, but it was a couple of people. But then by the time it got up there to the waist, something done floated away. Some people have floated away. You
Yep.
can't even sleep no more because your bed is up on the water. And it's
You got a water bed and not the kind you want to have.
and guess what? They said when the door was shut, God sealed it that no man could open it. I can see them out there. I'm gonna burn it down. If I can't get it, I'm gonna burn a hole in it. And guess what? God was just sending in one good raindrop, just right on whatever you was trying to like. It would not like it. And guess what? God was like, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. It was telling you. You knew you didn't. You sat over there, you walked past, and you laugh, you laugh, you laugh. Like you didn't even have to participate in building this, but you could have been floating and riding with it. But guess what? Peace out. You left here. We're gonna start over without you.
Well, I think that we've answered kind of the question: is ignorance bliss? No. I think ignorance is bliss in certain, like you said, or it depends on the category of
Mm-hmm.
information.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's bliss and sometimes it's not. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you have a high price to pay for not having information. But I do have a question for
Mm-hmm.
you, Miss Renee, and I'm going to answer this question too. What do you wish you would have known?
Oh, what do I wish that I had known? Um, I think when I first entered into college, I had went to a school that gave me a lot of money initially, but I really did coming from a poor family, you definitely looking at because we ain't got no money to come out of pocket for. So it's like, can you go here? And I really didn't research enough about like would this school be a good fit for me for what I wanted to do career wise. And it was like it wasn't gonna be a good fit for me because it was an all girl school. I realized like I have to have testosterone around me because guess what? Men that opposite sex, it makes you want to do better. Getting up, putting on clothes, not walking around for a whole week with rollers in your hair. And I'm saying this because I've been there before. So it's like, and I never forget when I was in chemistry class and I was looking around, I was like, everybody is paying attention except for me. But most of the class clowns be guys and stuff, they trying to holler, whatever it is. It's like, I'm down with like, leave me alone. I'm trying to pay attention. But it's just like, ain't nobody bothering me. Like, this ain't for me. Like, I no. So I wish I had known that because it was not a good fit for my personality. I still keep in contact with some females that went to school there. my outside of school experience was okay, but I do know that I don't want to be in spaces exclusively with women for long periods of time. I don't like that.
You like that
Um,
female male energy.
yes, and also it was one of those things where figuring out now researching, and sometimes I just didn't know, like, okay, you need to research the schools to see, like, okay, is this school good for this, for what is your end goal type of job that you want to get, like you should go to these schools, like, so what is their retention rate, what is all of this other different type of stuff. So I didn't, if I had known what I know now, because I had got accepted to plenty of other schools, I would have never went there.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did learn, I do not. People sit up there and I might get some flashback or whatever. I understand why some men fight the hell out of women. Because when you be around them, it's just like, okay, I see that. But I take it case by case. I don't know why they got to fight. I don't know. Maybe you cussed out his mom, and guess what? You cussed out somebody's mom. If you're a girl and they cussed out a boy mama, guess what? Maybe you should have your friends knocked out. But I learned a whole lot about women being there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a predominantly white school. Opened my eyes to a whole another different type of woman. And then being from home and just being around different people that was not like-minded and stuff. And it was just like, I didn't say my upbringing was perfect, but what y'all was doing, it ain't working out for everybody. Like, nobody on this floor like you. Guess what? Before the month over, nobody in this whole dormitory like you. So I'm gonna say, you know what? You weren't raised right. You weren't raised right at all. So it was crazy. So I wish I had known, like, don't go there. Don't go
So
there
take
because
that
it's not a
advice.
good fit.
Take
Huh?
that advice. I say, I'm telling our listeners, like, take that advice. If you are going to school or you have somebody going to school, do the research.
Yes.
Do the research, find out. You have to know your personality. I think that's pretty good. Um, so mine, what I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known at 18 had I opened up an IRA
Mm,
and just put money a little bit every 2 weeks when I had a job, a little summer job. I had $50 every now and then. The money I would be sitting on right now because of compound interest.
yeah.
I definitely believe in trading. I really want to get back into it, but you don't have to do anything with it. You just put it in, and where you
Watch
make
it
the
grow.
money is in the long term. So I'm
Or a Roth savings account.
exactly not a savings account, but an IRA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because it's the compound interest that get you, and the time, you open it now, still want people to do it now, but you're having to wait till you're 60. We're not 40, you waiting till you're in your 60s. But if you did it when you're 18, that's you don't need as much money when you're 18.
Balling. Guess what? I already know. Some of it, I would have had took that money. I'd be like, guess what? I'm finna live it up right now. Because one thing I do know, you can't take it all with
So
you
that
when
is
you
definitely
go.
something I will be doing for my kids. Like, honestly, outside of what is a savings plan, I don't think I'll probably do a savings plan. I'll probably do something else. But when they turn 18, oh honey, you're gonna get you a nice little Roth IRA. And we're gonna put money in there. And every month I will contribute if you don't have a job as long as you're in school. We'll have some type of thing set up where
Yeah.
there's some money that's being stacked for you and you're getting compound interest at a time where your bills are not the bills of an older person.
Yeah.
And by the time you get older and you're making enough money that you can't even feel that little bit of money, like when you're 18, you don't even have to do a lot of money. $25, $50. Oh my goodness. That is definitely what I wish I would have known.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What do you wish you didn't know?
Oh, what do I wish that I did not know? Oh, I wish I did not know how politics work.
Mm,
Because knowing how now the inner workings of local and national government works, and how with some people they were vetted in some of these you know uh Ivy League preparatory schools. before they even graduated. They was already groomed, you know, to be, they already knew like this is where I'm going to be at. And that kind of goes back to with the Supreme Court justice nominee. You know, she had to work for hers
Right.
and to get to where she's at, where other people, they were groomed
Yeah.
and vetted. So all they had to do was, I gotta pass my test. I don't have to work hard because my ticket, the pay has been made. And I think with us as being African Americans and minorities and stuff, where it's just like, guess what? You gotta work 2, 3, 4 times as hard, you know, excel over and beyond to, in their eyes, to kind of be okay. Well, you a little bit qualified, but
There's
I
another movie on Netflix called, I want to say, The Family. Kind of points to what you're talking
yes.
about. And it's all about how, like, these men, mostly it's about more about the men than the women, but it's a house
Mhm.
where men and women come and they live. And basically, you live here, you know, the women serve them. They get an education, but basically, if you make it through this house, you get all the connections in politics. And
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you believe like they believe.
Yes. So
You got to
just
pretend to believe.
just knowing that, and I think it was Hill Harper, he talked about, and I think Van Jones talked about it as well, like when they was, you know, at the Ivy League business law schools, that they was wondering like, hey, this person, they always coming on campus and they always get this little group of people, and they was like, yeah, I know him. Said, and once now that they're in the positions that they're in, they realize, guess what, you was vetted, you know, your freshman and your junior year, like
You had
your
it at a
ticket.
grade.
Exactly. Where it was just like, it's almost like they said, like getting into the military is better to get the people when they're younger, because you still trying to figure out who you are, so they can shape and mold you into what they want you to be, and your thought process of what it is.
Right.
So knowing that, it makes it hard sometimes for me when it's time for me to go and vote,
Mm-hmm.
because it says, it's like, do my vote count? But at the same time, I go back and it's like, yes, it does. And
Yeah.
I want to tell all of our listeners, all of our viewers, your vote count. If you are a minority, guess what? Your vote count, because if it didn't, guess what? It wouldn't have been no the slaughter at Pettis bridge. It would not be all this gerrymandering, the redlining, and the voter suppression if your vote did not count.
They
They
wouldn't have to
wouldn't
vote on that
care
thing in
everybody.
50
And for us
years.
as Black people, we wouldn't have to get renewed every 50 years for our vote to count. So it's like every time I go there, I have to really remember, guess what? Yes, all of this stuff is going on in the background, but even though they're going in the background, the choices of the people can still sway whatever anybody had did. If not, they're gonna have to cheat. They're gonna have to steal that election, because the people still have spoken. And it's like, it's no way that nobody's gonna tell me that my vote does not count. And I'm gonna say this: if it didn't, why would all these people spend all this money in order to put these little flags and stuff and bumper stickers and stuff and give it out to all these people and pins and all this other kind of stuff? Because if that's the case, well, then I need to try to be in t-shirt making business and just sell for when somebody running for office or something. Because it's like, honey, they pay good money. They'll get some different little nice little t-shirts and stuff like that. But
The
I wish
biggest
I hadn't known that.
vote don't count, and that narrative didn't come from us. That
No.
narrative was sold to us, so we can start believing that. That is one of the biggest lies. That is one of the biggest don't look up.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
no, 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 your vote don't count, but you want to kill people.
You
If our
you
vote don't
killing
count, you need to say,
people.
okay, no vote.
You made the voting tax.
Real easy. You can, when you make people feel like what they do matters, you get their buy-in real easy. So that could have been something very easy. Yeah, yeah, go vote. Yeah, you can be off,
Yeah.
but no.
And I just know that although there's so much of stuff is backdoor, and then you see political families, so you definitely know that people, they're running not based off of their merit, they're running off of their last name. And I'm pretty sure, like, if I came from a family like that, guess what? I'm gonna exercise nepotism too for my kids. So And that right, I do understand it. However, for the people, the person that had that name, your first two people who had ran under that name, that family members, they may have been really for the people, but everybody else after that, they've been trash. Like, get them out. We need some new blood in there, new ideas, new, people who understands the will of the people and the wants of the people. So that is one thing I wish I just had not known. I had not known. Um, I definitely could have did without knowing the the way politics and government work. I could have definitely dealt without out there.
Well, mine is not that serious, but it's serious to me a little bit. I wish I did not know that Taco Bell meat great be but edible. I could have went without knowing that. Let me enjoy Taco Bell.
But they ain't calling it taco hell for nothing. And
Honey,
you better be somewhere close to that bathroom. So whatever it is, it's really not compatible with human, because
it's edible. Look.
it may be edible, meaning that guess what, you can chew it up and swallow it, but once it get down in the digestion system, whatever it is, it definitely has a fight.
That's true. So I don't eat Taco Bell that often, but I definitely can eat Taco Bell. And I could have went without knowing it. I could have went without knowing exactly what it says because I think about that. And sometimes I'm like, oh, let me get the chicken quesadilla. It's not the beef. But surely if the beef is like that, the chicken is not real either.
I think everything probably is questionable. Everything is probably questionable.
I could definitely be ignorant to that.
Yeah, and I guess what, I highly doubt that it's horse meat, because when I stayed out of the country, yes, I've eaten horse meat before, not my choice. When I was staying in the Caribbean.
Has people said that it's horse meat before?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying I doubt that it's horse meat just because of my own experience of it. So when we went to this place, and it was called Whataburger. Not like this Whataburger that's here in the United States. It was something else, right? And so I'm eating this, and I'm just like, this meat tastes different. Not bad, different. It tastes very, very different. It has a different kind of texture, flavor to it. And it's like, this is not coming from no seasoned salt and stuff. And so I go to the front, and I'm like, I already ate half of it. So at this point, it's just like, whatever it is in me, I'm pretty sure I ate enough to kill me. So I go up there to the front, and they can't speak English. I'm asking, is this beef? Is this a cow? Do you know what a cow is? And it's just like, we don't have no cell phone, so I could just like Google up what a cow is, because a cow look how a cow look all around the world. But guess what? You can make the sound of a cow. Moo. And it's no. And she made a horse sound. And it's just
what was the sound she made? I want to hear it.
yeah, shut up. You know that so very similar to that. Because like and I'm just like, and I remember I'm just like, and I'm holding my chest and my belly. And my friend, my roommate beside me, Eric was like, Renee, we done ate a horse. And I'm sitting up there just like, what? Like, it should be something like, because it's like, this ain't what we be eating. And so I go and sit back down, and I thought about it because, money is scarce. And I'm just like, I ain't seen nobody on this. I ain't seen no funerals on this island, and people they've been coming here. So I ate the rest of it, but I didn't go back there to eat.
You're like, it is not gonna kill me.
At that point, it was just like, I've eaten enough to kill me. And the last thing I should do is die on a half empty, half full stomach. Like, I don't know what type of energy I need on the other side. So let's go on a full stomach. But I was just like, oh my God. But I will say this, like, I know that it's supposed to be illegal to use horse meat in the United States. I do know that, but it's not because like the meat is dangerous or anything like that. I think it's just how people they just kind of view it. And
Horses
so
are becoming more of pets.
I think so as well. But it was a unique flavor. Like it was really, really nice. It was like a nice, and I think because they
I can
lean.
remain ignorant to that.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna talk about this thing. So I think because they're a lean, healthy, more muscular animal, they don't have fat and stuff, mainly like on them. And they you don't see where they pumping them up with all these antibiotics and other stuff.
It's just
I, I'm
like the thought. You
I'm
should
for real. So I think because it wasn't like a gamey type of meat, because I eat deer meat too. And deer meat has a different flavor to it as well. And I think because they're out there just eating, you know, un like untouched vegetation, like it's not being manipulated with chemicals and different stuff like that. So I think that's why I particularly like deer meat, because like the flavor of the meat is good. And I think because they're eating fruits and berries and grasses of different sorts and stuff like that. And I think that's the same way with a horse meat. But I'm gonna tell you this: if we ever get to a situation, I know what I can and cannot eat, and it's good that I am from the country, because guess what? A whole lot of roadkill will be killed and eaten.
Okay.
I ain't gonna be lacking no protein.
Okay. I can't say I won't. I would, but I'm that I can add the horse meat to my list of things.
Girl, let me tell you, with all this mess that they be doing, we probably ate a whole lot of stuff, but we just choose
That's
what
true.
we
I
eat.
choose to be ignorant. Let me live and not know.
But it did not mess my stomach up. I will say that, because afterwards, like I was looking for, like, okay, I'm looking for the revenge to happen. And I didn't have no type of issues or nothing like that. But I will say this: every time I have been to Taco Bell, there has been a GI disturbance soon thereafter.
I can't say
Yes.
every time, but I know what you're talking about.
A lot of people know what we're talking about.
Well, that is our time as far as with this topic, but just us thinking about ignorance, at least make it a choice. And let's not choose to be ignorant all the time.
Yes.
But don't, and like you said, open your mind and read something new. There may be something that you can learn, that way you don't know what you don't know. And you're not in
Hmm.
certain situations that it would have benefited you to know more information. I thought this was a really good topic.
Yes.
Came with it because we both saw the movie and were like, "Oh my god, this movie was so good!" And it's so many, honestly, so many other ways you can go with this discussion, but that was the biggest theme
Hmm.
of it. Like, do you choose to look at exactly what's happening, or do you choose to look away?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I guess we determine it just depends on what's happening. So, well, we are now going to celebrate birthdays in the month
Happy
of
birthday.
March.
Happy
So,
birthday.
we would love for you guys to let us know about your birthdays. So we have a few we want to celebrate. Miss Renee,
Yes.
what do you want to shout out?
Yes. I have one in New Orleans. Miss Zita with a Z.
Okay.
Yes. She's been in the 40 plus club, but guess what? We just welcome her for just a little further in depth. And my cousin Roshonda, better known as Roro. My cousin Ernestine, she had a birthday this month, and one of my classmates who is now the band director at our high school, Anthony. And my friend Jennifer, she's not quite, but guess what? We at the point now, we ushering her closer and closer to the
Yeah, we
40
want
door.
to celebrate
Yeah.
life.
Yes, so we definitely appreciate them. Another trip around the sun. We wish you many, 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 many,
Yes, and
many,
I
many
have
more.
some for our listeners. Chanel and Alexis. Happy
Hey,
belated birthdays. Your birthdays, I believe, are around the same early part of March. So hope you guys had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. We would love to acknowledge you on your birthday. So if you would please email us at the40spot@gmail.com. Just give us your first name, your date of birth. We don't need the year, but just your date of birth, so that we can celebrate you and acknowledge your birthdays. Like Renee said, happy birthday.
Yes, get your boy down.
Say, hey, do a little dance.
Hey.
So next time, 2 weeks from today, we will be back in 2 weeks, right, Miss Renee?
Yes, we will be back in 2 weeks. It's God willing and the creek don't rise, as they say from where I'm
So
from.
April 3rd, we will be back, and what we will be discussing is self-care. And what does that look like? A lot of times people think self-care, I mean, even me, honestly, it's like, oh, I need a spa day. That is not that's not the only way to do
And soak
self-care.
your feet and all of those type of things. It's
Yeah,
definitely more in depth than that. And
fun.
it's not just something that women need. Men need it, children need it.
But break
Everybody
it
needs
down.
that
It's
self
called
care.
self-care. How do you care for yourself? And so
Yes.
that's broken down spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a quick example. One way of your self care could be making a list to get things off your mind on a piece of paper so you can stop thinking about it. That
Yeah.
could be the form of self care. So we're gonna break that down. We're gonna dig a little deeper to it. April 3rd. When you said that April is actually what? What month is it? International or
It's,
national?
it's National Dig Safe Month, but it's a lot of other stuff. It's but it was just one of the things.
Stress month.
Yes. Stress awareness month.
Yes, the stress awareness month next month. So we're gonna kick it off with that, and then we'll talk about some other ways you can de-stress later
Yes.
on in April. But so that's what we'll be doing. So tune in with us at the 40 Spot on all social media, all platforms. The 40 Spot. Follow us, like us, share us, subscribe. Y'all, we are on all podcast platforms. We are on is it iTunes?
iTunes, Apple Pods, Google, Spotify, what is
All
Good
of
Pods, you
them.
name it, you can find us.
Now we are not on what is it? Shoot, what is it? Some other thing, but you gotta, that's there. It's like a radio station. I cannot remember. iHeart. We're not on iHeart.
Okay.
But the other places, look us up. The 40 Spot. You might have to scroll a little bit. We new in
But
this
look for the icon. It's right there.
thing.
Look for our icon.
We are there again. Thank you so much for joining us live on the replay. One thing we just want to leave you with in all you're getting, get understanding. Have a wonderful week.
Yes, thank you again for tuning in. And if it's on a replay, we thank you for listening. And every other Saturday, 7 p.m.
Every other Sunday.
Eastern, every other Sunday. I'm sorry, y'all. This has been a long 2 weeks for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sunday.
Yes,
Every other Sunday. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find us live, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And later on in the week, we upload, and wherever you get your podcast at, that's where you can find us at the 40 spot. The 40 spot.
At the 40 Spot, the 40 Spot. Y'all have a good week. Be blessed.